Citi is committed to the single market. As we look at growth, we need to think about how we can fund it. And there I think that, like it or not, we are dependent on the broader banking system, not just banks. There is a quest to have more high-quality capital underpin the banks. Where that capital comes from is a different question, and so a natural response is also to reduce the size of banks. And we heard yesterday the IMF suggesting that over the next 18 months, banking assets would be reduced quite significantly to the tune of approximately 7%, and that will have, don't know whether they're right, but that will have an effect on credit availability. And so then the question goes, well, in the event that that happens, what other sources of funding could be available? Securitisation maybe, so that's the passage of assets from the bank's balance sheet into the market. However, and understandably, securitisation legislation requires banks to retain a portion of the securitized assets, and the capital allocation under CRD4 attributed to that is very expensive. And I'll try to avoid jargon, but you're all familiar with CRD4, which is the EU's version of Basel III. So you then say, well, but there's always the shadow banking industry. What does that mean? It's a myriad of different providers, hedge funds, private equity firms, motor companies, insurance companies, money market funds, and so on. But significant providers of finance, BMW or Daimler or Volkswagen providing funding to its customers for motor vehicles. And they too are coming under regulatory scrutiny. And so there is a need to ask the question, in the interest of safety and soundness, are we in any way compromising growth? And there are many other examples. I'll just give a couple. Trade finance, which is absolutely core to the export economies of Europe, will, under the new regulatory framework, carry much heavier capital requirements. Another growth area which is very important is infrastructure. Project finance, due to the longevity of its lending, again will carry very significant capital requirements. So safety and soundness, we understand why, but we all want growth. So I think the question those responsible for policy making and those involved in the legislative decisions have a great responsibility, because what we don't want to do is get the balance wrong, and we need to ensure that we don't spend the next 10 years unpicking and modifying legislation that we made over hastily.